We got the exclusive Stacy. You know we gotta show some love, cause your boy got the plug shown up. We got the exclusive Stacy. We the people, we won't settle. Can't nobody do this better. We got the exclusive with Stacy Roberson tonight. I know that's right.
My name is Host-Stacy Roberson, and you're watching The Exclusive. I am one of Atlanta's greatest ideas and your host with the most exclusive. So as you can see, we are not just anywhere. We're not in our regular studio setting, but we are at the law office of Attorney Gerald A. Griggs. So I want to welcome all our viewers, everyone that's paying attention. Let's definitely get involved in what we're about to share. And again, you are watching The Exclusive. Attorney Griggs, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. But if you're doing okay, then I'm definitely going to be doing excellent, all right? Well, we're just going to have a lot of fun today. I do believe learning is fun, and we're going to be able to educate our viewers on what's happening as it relates to what you do, and how even what you do can be a benefit to those who are watching, and how it can be a preparation and a playing field for those who wish to go into the direction which you do as an attorney, if that's the case. So I always start out, we just jump right in here. Are you from Atlanta? And if not, where are you from? But if you're Atlanta, hey, tell us where you're from.
Okay, I'm from Atlanta, born and raised. I was born on P Street.
Okay.
And so I'm as Atlanta as it gets, born at Piedmont Hospital 40 years ago. So I consider myself a native.
Yeah. All right, okay. So how was your educational experience growing up, and where did you attend college?
Okay, educational experience was it was good. You know, first 7 years I was in Atlanta Public Schools. Then I transitioned to Woodward Academy, which is one of the premier college preparatory academies here in Atlanta. And then I was lucky enough to get a full scholarship to Oxford College of Emory University, and then Emory University, where I graduated with my BA in 2000.
Okay, all right. So I just happened to be glancing down, all right, and I noticed something, all right. I see that he is a member of the oldest and the coldest fraternity, all right, Alpha Phi Alpha. So how did you become a member of Alpha Phi Alpha?
Well, you know, I've always been influenced by great brothers of the brotherhood, whether that was Thurgood or Dr. King. You know, so I just decided to matriculate through the oldest fraternal organization for Black Greeks, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I was initiated in fall of 2000 in Pi Gamma Lambda chapter, and have been there almost 20 years now. So I'm just honored to just be a part of so many great men who've influenced history for the last 100 and some odd years. It's been a long time.
That's right, that's right. So why law?
You know, I grew up looking up to such luminaries and giants in the field: Johnny Cochran, Thurgood Marshall, Clarence Darrow. And, you know, I just wanted to, you know, be a leader. I didn't quite understand what was going on in the Orenthal James Simpson case back in the 90s, but I saw this young, suave brother, you know, rhyming and making justice happen. And I said, I want to do that. And so I learned about Mr. Cochran. And then I just decided to, you know, after college, go to law school. Went to University of Cincinnati, which is the 4th oldest law school in the country. And then came back to Atlanta and started practicing law. And been practicing law almost 15 years now.
Okay, all right. So, community empowerment, why is it very important to you?
It's very important because it's the lifeblood of the community. If you're not empowering the community to be better, you're not doing a service to the community. So I've been dedicated to activism and community empowerment since my junior year at Emory University. And so I just see it as a vehicle to give back to the next generation because of the luminaries that influenced me, whether that's Representative John Lewis, Ambassador Young, Dr. King, and so many others, Dr. Lafayette, just some of the others. And of course, the luminary giants, my sheroes, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker, and just so many people that have influenced my matriculation in activism.
And that's very important. And to all the viewers that are watching, we sometimes feel that we have to be this grand individual or this superstar in order to make a difference in our community or to fight for something that we consider should be right. it doesn't. It's everyday people that's making the change and making a difference across the world. And I believe that we all fall in that category. And so if there's something that you are passionate about, community empowerment is definitely something that you want to step in step in the fields of doing. Hey, one day at a time, let's make it happen. Make a difference in your community is so important, so important. So, what are your views on politics today? And I'm going to speak specifically about Atlanta.
Atlanta politics are very interesting. We just came out of a very contentious mayoral race between Keisha Lance Bottoms and Mary Norwood, whether or not Atlanta was going to continue in the 40 years of being run by an African American. And I see the political spectrum as being in flux. Because many people believe that you have to have a black face to maintain the black Mecca. I believe you got to have the black agenda to maintain the black Mecca.
Right.
So whether or not the person is African American or not, if they're not speaking directly to people, then we have a problem. So again, I believe the political atmosphere here with gentrification, with mass incarceration, with wealth inequality is in flux. And so we're going to determine where we go for the next 10, 15 years by this administration. And I've been charged with the duty as the Vice President of the Atlanta chapter to make sure we hold any elected official to their agenda for the constituency that elected them. So currently now, Mayor Bottoms has had her good times and she had her bad times. She's working with cash money bail reform and passed that, marijuana reclassification, passed that with the help of activists, but we still have lack of affordable housing, lack of real criminal justice reform, and a serious police brutality problem in this city. So we're going to make sure we keep pressure on her to fulfill her promises that she made, primarily to African American people, but especially to the majority of Atlanta that is looking to continue to prosper on the legacy of Maynard Jackson. But if people don't follow through on that legacy, then they can expect a whole lot of protests.
So that's very important. Again, the agenda is out on the table, and we want to make sure that even as a community of people, we hold those people who are in office, that we hold them accountable for what they say that they would do. And much love to Keisha Lance Bottom. I'm so happy to see her in office, and it's always a good day to see a person that looks like you helping to lead a city. So I definitely want to make sure that we continue to support her and everyone that's involved in her circle to help her to make sure that she gets everything that needs to be accomplished, not just for the city of Atlanta in general, but also for the African American community as well. So let me ask you this. Education is so important to me. What are your thoughts on education in 2019?
I think we're in a crisis. Georgia is underfunded, is underperforming. The city of Atlanta has an issue with maintaining quality educators. So I think we're at a crossroads where we can make sure that the education is commensurate with the need in the community. We almost had the Opportunity School District, which we at the NAACP fought against and made sure it did not pass. But we got to talk with our policymakers and make sure they are funding education at the commensurate levels for exceptional achievement. Because if you fund public schools, you will have public schools producing scholar students who can give back. I mean, I am an example. I'm a product of Atlanta Public Schools. Yes, I went to Woodward Academy, but that base was laid at Atlanta Public Schools. So I believe that education is the key, and I believe funding our education and our school systems appropriately, publicly, is necessary to make sure that next generation understands where they came from and are able to perform at the levels that we expect.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So we're going to kind of shift the dynamics here for a moment, and I wanted to specify a specific case.
Okay.
Because I know that as an attorney you handle a lot of cases, and I know that you have received a lot of attention in regards to one of the cases that you did take on, which is the R. Kelly case.
Yes.
And I know that you represent Tim and Jonjelyn Savage.
Yes.
And why did you take on that case? I think for everyone that's watching, I'm sure for those who are not familiar with the case, I think it's very important, which is hard to find anybody who may not be familiar with it, but as it relates to your decision on why it was important that you took on this case, if you can let the viewers know.
Okay, well, I was approached almost 2.5 years ago by Tim and Jonjelyn Savage with an issue regarding Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly and their daughter. And after listening to them, after doing research and after interviewing numerous witnesses, I decided to take on the case to attempt to reunite them with their daughter, who currently resides with Robert Sylvester Kelly. And I thought, I would be remiss in not helping. I'm an activist, but I'm also an attorney. And I thought that the case was not receiving sufficient attention. People were not believing black women's voices. So I wanted to lend my expertise in elevating this case from a YouTube video to what it is right now. And so my hat is off to Tim and Jonjelyn for the intestinal fortitude and the strength to fight this case all the way up. And for the other survivors that I represent or that I have had contact with, the intestinal fortitude. It's not been easy. We've been attacked by trolls in all forms of fashion. But we've always kept our eye on the prize, and that's reuniting Joycelyn Savage with her family. Whatever happens to Mr. Kelly, that's between Mr. Kelly and law enforcement. But we are dedicated to bringing justice in this case, and that means reuniting the family with their daughter.
All right, but thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you. If you could give any advice to any person who is seeking justice for any tragic event that has occurred in their life, where should they start?
They should start by putting one foot in front of the other. You have to raise awareness. You have to make people understand what's happening. So you got to go have conversations with people. You got to make sure that the justice system has heard you by seeing you. And then you have to be persistent. You can never give up. As you've seen with Robert Sylvester Kelly, the whole world didn't believe anything until Tim and Jonjelyn brought this case to the forefront. And now it is where it is. And that's because of intestinal fortitude and strength. In the beginning, many people are going to be against you, but that never matters. All that matters is the wherewithal and resolve to get the truth out. So I would say anybody struggling with the inequity or a lack of justice needs to find somebody that's willing to fight with them when nobody else will fight with them. And then continue to press the issue and always stand on the side of truth and right. And once you stand on the side of truth and right, it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 on your right hand, 1,000 on your left hand. As long as you got truth with you, you don't have anything to worry about.
That's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. So, how can you be reached?
I can be reached on all social platforms at Attorney Griggs, ATTORNEYGRIGGS, or I can be reached here in my office, Gerald A. Griggs, LLC, the website, www.geraldagriggs.com. If you need me, just type the hashtag Justice Fighter, and I will be there. So I just am appreciative of the new platforms, specifically YouTube, for allowing the message to go out and to go out unfiltered. Many people are asking, are there attorneys out here that's willing to fight, that's willing to get involved in cases, and they are. It's just sometimes they're not getting the spotlight that needs to be shown on them. So I appreciate the new emerging platforms, the social platforms that give voice to the people that are really doing the work. Criminal justice reform has been a big topic recently, but there are people in the field that have been fighting 15, 20 years. And so now that it's a sexy topic, I'm glad that, influencers are now joining the fight. But this is a fight day in and day out to fight for reform in the criminal justice system, to fight to elevate the voices of the marginalized, but more importantly, to bring justice to the people that are not being heard.
And I do want to take this moment before we prepare to wrap up, and I do want to take this moment to thank you for the work that you do. I've definitely been following you for quite a while, and that's why I was very adamant in wanting to get the opportunity to come before you and also to help further your platform as well in helping to educate the people at large. But thank you for the work that you do, and know that as far as from the exclusive, however we can ever be a support system to you as well, you definitely have our support as well.
I appreciate you, this opportunity to open the platform, and hopefully we can engage further, and hopefully your viewers can engage further in the fight for justice, because it's important that we unite together for the fight for justice for a lot of these victims, for a lot of the individuals that have been wrongly convicted, for a lot of the individuals that have been unjustly treated by the criminal justice system, and for the predators out there that have not been brought to justice.
All right. So thank you all. Again, this was Attorney Gerald A. Griggs. I'm Stacy Roberson, your host with the most exclusive and one of Atlanta's greatest ideas, also the AKA Celebrity Educator. So as you've heard it here today, a lot is going forward. We got a lot of work to do, so I'm just challenging everyone to get involved locally and globally. And let's change the world together, one day at a time. We're signing out here on The Exclusive.
We got the exclusive Stacy. You know we gotta show some love, 'cause your boy got the plug shown up. We got the exclusive Stacy. We the people, we won't settle. Ain't nobody do this better. We got the exclusive with Stacy Roberson tonight. I know that's right.